What do you hear? What do you say?
Welcome to Chicago, where the fire serve cold, but the Wolves and the Hawks never shiver in the snow. The Bulls keep it running, the Sox run the South, the Cubs run the North, but the Bears run the house. True Chicago sports fans got their ears to the street. Any team make a move and they never skip a beat. And in this house, this is where we be. Welcome to the show with E-Rock and Big Z.
Welcome to Chicago. Coming from the True Chicago Sports Fan Cave, this is the TCSF podcast with E-Rock and Big Z. Episode 112 is brought to you by 606 Media, True Chicago Sports Fans, and Grit Clothing Company. Don't forget to go to gritclothingco.com and get your official TCSF podcast t-shirt. Search for keyword True Chicago and use our promo code TrueFan15 for 15% off your entire order. That is TrueFan15. Go and get your official TCSF podcast t-shirts now. As always, I am Big Z, and my boy E-Rock is out in assignment. He's over there coaching his daughter. Hopefully they get a couple wins. So he is out today, so you just got to listen to my lovely voice today. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's been a while. It's been a couple weeks. Welcome to the show. If you're a first-timer or a long-timer, please remember to hit that subscribe button, that notify button, and go ahead and give us a review on your listening app of choice. You can find us on Facebook at True Chicago Fans. You can also follow us on Twitter at True Chi Fans and on IG at True Chicago Sports Fans. Don't forget you can support the show with a monthly subscription at anchor.fm/True Chicago Sports Fans and go over there and click on the support button. You can subscribe for as little as 99 cents a month. You spend more than that on your coffee. Do you like the show? Are you a fan? Tell your friends and they'll tell their friends and we can all be friends. That's right. If you enjoy the content that we're putting out, if we make you laugh, we make you cry, or we just make you think, you know what? Share that with your friends, share that with your enemies, share it with everybody. We just want you to share it. All right. So it's been a huge week, a couple weeks for me. It's been a big transition for me with the new job. Yeah, man, it's just running around with little kids and then with the big kids with the attitudes. It's an adjustment. My body, my mind, my soul are all sore. So I've been resting and relaxing a lot more when I come home and on the weekends. So it's been a weird transition from managing just one grade level to managing 9 grade levels, kinder through 8. So it's been an adjustment, and you know what? I think it's going to take me about another month to recover from this adjustment. After that, I should be running on full cylinders, all 4 cylinders, because I'm not a 6-cylinder dude. DM me some energy tips, because your boy's running low, running on empty most of these days. Well, I've been busy the last 2 weeks. I've also joined fellow 606 Media podcast, No Water on the Weekend, again over there with Sean and Steven. Had a great time. That podcast is out and ready for you. They publish every Monday for you. So again, that is the No Water on the Weekend podcast. It is nothing but laughs and interesting trivia questions. So check them out every Monday. I also had the chance to be a guest on the May Peace Be With You podcast with Justin. That was actually fun. Yeah, it was a little change of pace. It was more of an interview, so we got to know each other a little bit better. We spent a little bit over an hour together talking about all different types of subjects, from my childhood, my background, me into teaching, me going into my MBA, and then going to finding what makes me zen, what brings me back to inner peace. So that should be out this next Monday coming up. So that is something that you want to listen to, and follow Justin on the May Peace Be With You podcast that publishes every 2 weeks on a Monday. So check that one out as well. Last but not least, bowling. We are the defending champions over there at the Tuesday Night Magics over at the Waveland, and we've been balling. I think we're first or second place. I haven't checked the standings, but everybody's bringing their A game and trying to take us off the pedestal. But I guarantee you, it is not going to happen. You can make your cheers, you can do your voodoo, you can change your bowling balls, you can change your gear, you can even try to buy us shots. It's just not going to work, ladies and gentlemen. We are coming for a repeat. So if you got some time on a Tuesday and want to watch some great bowling, go over there to Waveland Bowl over there on Western and Waveland, and come have a good time with us. This week, we'll be putting a bow on the White Sox dismal season. What went wrong? What went right? How do we look towards the future? Like, who's going to be playing where? Are these guys still going to run it back? Is there going to be a change at the manager? Is there going to be a change at the GM, the president, maybe the owner sells? I don't know. There's a lot of uncertainty on the south side over there at the guaranteed rate field. And you know what? We're going to break all that down. All that plus stirring the pot and what you're looking at. But first, this is the Big Three with Big Z. All right, I'm Big Z, and you're not. Now for today's stories. Story number one. Ooh, this one's a little meaty here. Beyond Meat executive arrested after biting a man's nose during a road rage incident. Yes, you heard that right. Correctly. Yes, you heard it right. The Beyond Meat chief accused of biting a man's nose in a road rage confrontation. Douglas Ramsey allegedly punched a motorist and bit his nose so hard that it tore the flesh. This is according to the police report.
I'd like to take his face off.
Douglas Ramsey, 53, who was a chief operating officer of Beyond Meat, allegedly punched a motorist and bit the man's nose almost off. The police report and allege that Ramsey accused the victim of bumping one of the front tires of his SUV as they both negotiated their way out of a long line, leaving a parking garage after the University of Arkansas's football team played a home game in Fayetteville this Saturday, a long time ago, a couple of weeks ago. This is nuts, man. I mean, you're talking about Beyond Meat and then go bite someone's nose off. I mean, this is ridiculous. I'm not going to eat none of that stuff anymore. I don't know what's in that stuff. Story number two. Oh, our old-time friend, Snoop D-O-double-G. That's right. He launches a new animated children's series called Doggyland. And no, it is not what you're thinking, you dirty-minded people. So it is. Snoop Dogg has stepped into the world of children's learning. The Grammy-nominated rapper has launched Doggyland, kids songs, and nursery rhymes. A new animated series. The show will cater to toddlers to 8-year-olds and test their social, emotional, and cognitive skills throughout musical expression. I mean, this works. This works. He's very creative. He's good at writing. Let's see if it'll play.
Doggyland, yeah!
Wow, wow, wow.
Good morning, pups. It's time to roll. Let's find a seat. High five, come on. We got barks a lot. Yap, yap, and wags all aboard the bus. Let's head to class.
Wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round.
Doggyland to me would be a 3D animated cartoon series designed for kids. I say preschoolers, toddlers, and eventually kids of all ages because it's so influential, it's so educational, and it's so fundamentally smart. The way we put it together with song, dance, and education.
I mean, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, you got Doggyland. I mean, there's been a huge gap in entertainment and programming for the younger kids. I mean, now everything's streaming and YouTube and stuff like that. But growing up, we all of us had Channel 11 giving us the Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers, all different types of programming that was up there for free. Even on Saturday mornings, you had your cartoons and all these programs that taught you about animals and the environment. I mean, most of that stuff is on the wayside at this point. So this is something actually positive and a positive story for Snoop Dogg. So we want to know, are you going to be watching this? Are you going to let your kids watch this? Are you going to watch it for yourself and see if these remixes of kid songs are legit? I mean, that's a pretty cool song already there. So let me know if you are going to enjoy this Doggyland. Story number three. All right, so I had to go. I had to go here. Have you ever wanted to add one of your iconic movies teams to a game? Like, remember the Titans or A League of Their Own or the Bad News Bears? Did you ever want to add those teams to your favorite game? Well, now you can play as Richmond. Now the team will be immortalized into video game characters modeled on the actors playing Coach Ted Lasso, who's Jason Sudeikis, the grumpy footballer turned into Coach Roy Kent, Sam Obisana, and star shooter Jamie Tart, among others. So AFC Richmond will be a playable team on EA Sports annual release of FIFA with the team's kit, Nelson Road Stadium, and the club badge as unlockable items in the Ultimate Team and Pro Club modes. I mean, this is exciting. I'm a big fan of the series. It is funny. It is entertaining. It's been 2 great seasons, and there's another season coming out, I think, in December. So, I mean, I'm looking at the image here, and, EA does it right. The images are pretty spot on. The little dog as a badge is pretty awesome. So 1897 is when Richmond was founded, quote unquote. So this is pretty cool to be able to do that now, and this is a huge crossover really for the entertainment series to cross over into the gaming series. So I look forward to picking this game up and playing as this team, because I'm gonna play as Rojas. Football is life. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Big Z, and that's news to me. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Hey, true Chicago sports fans, show off your Chicago pride with some fresh clothes from Grit Clothing Company. At Grit Clothing, they create that simple yet classic style that represents that Chicago Southside lifestyle. From t-shirts to hoodies, hats to glassware, they've got you covered. Grit has everything you need to represent your Chicago pride, so do it right now. Check out gritclothingco.com and use the promo code TrueFan15.
TrueFan15.
For 15% off your entire order. Let me say it again. That's gritclothingco.com and use the promo code TrueFan15 for 15% off of your entire order.
Hey, this is comedian Ken Garr, and I was just a guest on the True Chicago Sports Fans podcast with Big Earl and G-Money and a bunch of weirdos. So tune in!
Welcome back to the TCSF podcast with E-Rock and Big Z. This week, we lay to rest the 2022 White Sox season.
I think I'll perplex him with my slow ball.
1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out.
White Sox, White Sox, go, go, White Sox. Let's go, go.
What went wrong, ladies and gentlemen, with these White Sox? We've been cheering them all year. I think I watched a little bit over 120 games of White Sox baseball. It was up, it was down, it was sad, it was exciting. And they ended up pretty much playing 500 ball, which is what we did not expect them to do. So what went wrong? The White Sox looked like the most surefire division lock this spring, and it just all fell apart. It was quite literally a tale of 1 step forward and 2 steps back, right? We went to the playoffs with Ricky Renteria. They let him go. They said, hey, we need a more experienced manager, someone who can put us over the hump now that the kids are ready to win. You have Rick Hahn going and doing his due diligence and saying, hey, we're going to do everything possible to get the right manager in here. And then he gets called into the principal's office and they told him, you're going to have a manager. His name is TLR, Hall of Famer Tony La Russa.
Stop! He's already dead.
I mean, right there, you handcuffed his rebuild. His rebuild was going in a certain direction. Will we ever know if his rebuild would have been successful? I mean, I think the window's still open. So, after 2 straight playoff appearances, they could not stay above 500 most of the year. They were literally in the middle of the road the entire season. You had a division that was up for grabs, and Minnesota took an early lead, and then they regressed because they had a lot of injuries, just like the White Sox. And then you have Cleveland, the Cleveland Guardians, who traded away Lindor and a bunch of other players and had a bunch of kids playing their butt off under the right manager. You can see how managers do make a difference in baseball. All right, on the pitching side, before we start tossing tomatoes at the team, let's take a second to appreciate the magnificent seasons from Dylan Cease and Johnny Cueto, along with Michael Kopech. Kopech finally capitalized on his immense potential and became a reliable rotation piece. Even though he should be striking out way more people with his arsenal, like he has a lot of talent, but I figure he's on that Dylan Cease trajectory where he is, figuring stuff out as he goes. He's learning from the veterans, but he's also learning how to pitch because he hasn't pitched this long in a season. He's been hurt a couple years, and going from the college and then from the minors, he wasn't up to pitching so many innings. So I see him taking a big step next year if he can stay healthy. Then you got Cueto, who emerged from the depths of hell to post a 3.39 ERA in 151 innings. I mean, he really was a godsend. They picked him off the street. They said, hey, can you pitch? He's like, yes, I can. And he came in and did his job. Unfortunately, the White Sox could not put runs on the board for him. And that's, same thing they did for Lopez and a bunch of other pitchers who ate up innings and gave up 1, 2, maybe even 3 runs. And you're still in the game. Baseball games are high-scoring games at this point unless you're a dominant pitcher. So this was a no-brainer. They picked him up for practically nothing. He was in the minors for a couple weeks, and they brought him up and said, hey, all right, here you go. And, it is because Crochet went down with the Tommy John. So Cueto was a godsend. So I can't believe that his talent was wasted this season. And then you look at Cease. Dylan Cease took that big, humongous step forward. He ascended to the top tier of the big league starters and should finish top 5 in the AL Cy Young race. It's hard to give it to somebody in a losing team. I mean, he did have a couple clunkers in there, but I still think he'll be top 5. He'll be top 5, and that's notable. That's notable. He's a young kid. He has plenty of time to get his Cy Young award. Then you also have Lance Lynn. He started late because he had that knee surgery, and it took him a while to get into the motion. The big bastard took a while. He's like an old Buick. He takes a while to warm up. So, again, what do we do with Lance Lynn going forward? He's getting older. Is he going to be reliable? Is he going to be injury prone going forward? We don't know that yet, and we'll discuss that a little bit later. Then you got Giolito. Giolito bulked up for some reason. I don't know if he thought he was going to, bench press, Mike Tyson and hang out with the bodybuilders over in Laguna Beach. I don't know. I don't know what he was thinking. Maybe he was thinking that if I bulk up, I won't be as injury prone. I'll have all this extra muscle and I'll be able to protect myself. But you know what? He pitched like garbage this year. He took a step back. So look for Giolito to slim back down this upcoming season. And I think he'll bounce back. I think he's one of those smart pitchers that learned how to pitch, not using his fastball this year because he couldn't locate a lot of his pitches this year. So look at Giolito slim down and go back to being the old Giolito. So you'll have Giolito coming back. You'll have Cease coming back as your ace. You'll have Crochet coming back. You have a lot of talent in the starting rotation. The question will be, what are you gonna do with Lance Lynn? Who's going to be your 5th starter? That's all up in the grabs right now. But right now, 3 starters don't make a rotation, as you've seen the last 2 years we went to the playoffs. Those 3 starters were not enough, especially if they get knocked around. Our bullpen hasn't been one of our strongest suits here, so it's those are going to be the decisions we got to look at. All right, on the hitting side, Jose Abreu, El Pito, continued his perennial production, hitting over 300, but power has been down. It's been down. I think he has like 12 home runs. In fact, I believe that correctly. He's hitting over 300, but that's hitting over 300. But he's not hitting very well with men in scoring position. He's also, I believe, 35. He's done with his contract. You also had Yohan Moncada, who cared about more about looking good with all them chains and the bright shoes. He cared about that more than hitting. He wasn't running hard at first, and I know that was a manager decision. Like, they told the entire team, don't run hard because we don't want you getting hurt. It was disgusting. Then you have Grandal, who makes more money than all these guys combined on the batting side. He just went belly up. He literally just went belly up. He's got knee issues. He's got back issues. He's got mental issues because he can't hit the ball. He really didn't show up this year. I don't know if it was the injury that lingered the entire year, but his timing was way off. He's not the catcher that should be earning that much money. If it's up to me, you let him go. You cut him his check and say, well, see you down the road. Good luck on your future endeavors. All right, on the health front, you got AJ Pollock, of all people, managed to play 134 games. You got Tim Anderson, whose season was cut down by injuries with the surgery and all that. You got Eloy Jimenez and Lou Robert seemed limited most of the season with soreness and other issues. Mendick tore his ACL early in the season on a errant foul ball that should have been called off, and it wasn't called off, and they bumped into each other and blew out his ACL. Crochet, like I said, had Tommy John surgery. So again, if you don't have your lineup that you projected to be going towards a pennant at this point, they didn't play no more than 40 games together. So that takes a toll on your offense, takes a toll on your defense, it takes a toll on your pitching, because these guys have to make extra pitches because there's a bunch of errors on the defensive side, and it messes with the chemistry of the team. Completely messes with the chemistry of the team. If you don't got somebody that that has your back, it's a huge difference. As you saw all year with the White Sox, the defensive inept, where guys are laying the ball drop between three guys, where you guys have bumping into each other, where the pitcher is calling off the catcher and the ball falls in front of the catcher when it should have been the catcher's call. Plenty of those plays. I know we all remember those White Sox plays, and they're frustrating, and this is why we got to break this down. All right, let's get to the manager. Here's the biggest thing that we have to worry about. It was one of baseball's greatest feel-good stories, right? When a Hall of Fame manager comes out of retirement to lead his old team to the World Series title. Unfortunately, it did not work out that way, right? Tony La Russa was hoping to lead the Chicago White Sox to a World Series. Instead, he is expected to announce his retirement on Monday at a news conference in Chicago. La Russa, who is currently 78, gave it everything, but his heart started to give out. He's got some heart issues, and it was apparent there wasn't much fire in his belly for the game, and it spread throughout the clubhouse. I mean, he was sleeping on the job. He was like, weekend at Bernie's. They got to prop him up and so forth. But it is so frustrating because you got rid of a manager who was teaching these kids how to play the game correctly. Was he the best manager? No way. Ricky Renteria was not the best manager, was not the best available. There was a bunch of other managers that were better than Ricky, and he had to go. He did his job, right? But he held some of these players, most of these players, accountable. And that wasn't happening anymore. Pretty much everybody was in cliques. Everybody was just, doing whatever they wanted to do. You didn't have any cohesiveness. You had a bunch of guys with a bunch of talent who could not play together. And again, it goes back to the manager. That's what the baseball manager is there for. They put up the lineup, and they make sure they have a good culture. Like, you're there to make executive decisions. You also have coaches and stuff like that help you out. But you have all this talent, and it got wasted. It got completely wasted. So Tony La Russa's odd managing decisions didn't help the matters. He never bunted. He never, hit and run. The defensive shifts, playing Larry Garcia like 150 games for some reason. It was just mind-boggling on why they were doing a lot of these things. Then you got Joe McEwing, with the windmill, sending everybody to run home when they're going to get tagged out. So he's got to go. I know he's got the health issues, and I wish Tony La Russa well, but I think he kind of tainted his Hall of Fame resume by coming back with no fire in his belly, no real passion to coach. I think he just did it as a favor to Jerry Reinsdorf, because Jerry Reinsdorf wanted to right or wrong from 40 years ago. So what are we going to do? Who are we going to hire? We'll get into that in a little bit. So we'll be right back after some words from our sponsors.
I think I'll perplex him with my slow ball.
1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out.
Hey, true Chicago sports fans, show off your Chicago pride with some fresh clothes from Grit Clothing Company. At Grit Clothing, they create that simple yet classic style that represents that Chicago Southside lifestyle. From t-shirts to hoodies, hats to glassware, they've got you covered. Grit has everything you need to represent your Chicago pride. So do it right now. Check out gritclothingco.com and use the promo code TrueFan15.
TrueFan15.
For 15% off your entire order. Let me say it again. That's gritclothingco.com and use the promo code TrueFan15 for 15% off of your entire order.
This is Enrique Calderon coming to you from True Chicago Sports Fan Podcast. Come check me out on social media, Enrique Calderon Official on Instagram and Facebook. Checking us out.
Y te lo dice
Enrique Calderon.
Welcome back to the TCSF podcast with E-Rock and Big Z. This week's topic is the disappointment of the Chicago White Sox. Yeah, that team. Yeah, the White Sox. But now let's look forward to 2023 because, this season is completely over. So what is the prognosis for the 2023 White Sox? So the core needs to remain strong. Your pitching core, which is Cease and Giolito, and then you also have your Lubov and Eloy and Moncada and TA. That's your core, right? That's the core that we have right here. As long as they make the right hire, someone who has a steadier hand at steering the ship. Yes, that was a DUI joke there. But there's some persistent questions that won't go away. Is Jimenez the answer? Is he ever going to stay healthy? Can Moncada rebound from a horrible offensive year? Will they spend what is required to balance out the top-heavy defense challenge roster? I mean, the defense was atrocious, and they lost a lot of games by playing very, very bad defense, and they lost a lot of games because they're set up to either home run or bust. When they hit home runs, they win, and when they don't, they don't, because they cannot move runners over at all. So who is the next manager? What is Rick Hahn thinking? I mean, this is something we've got to look at. Ozzie Guillen was recently on Mully and Hall and talked about it.
I went through as a player, then through as a manager, then through as a coach. When you obviously before when I was doing it, they not pick up the win. But it's so disappointing for every different way. Everywhere you look at it, it's so disappointing by everything.
Ozzie, so we expect changes. We don't know how severe they will be, but we expect changes after a season like this. We expect there maybe to be a different manager next year. The speculation will include your name. How will you handle it when your name comes up in speculation about the next manager of the White Sox? How should we handle it when it comes up?
Well, it's funny. First of all, I got to go to my family as of how they're going to deal with this, because managing any ball club is not easy on the field and off the field. I say we got to talk to my family. If they disagree, then we see something out. If they agree, I think this ball club reminds me a little bit about 2004. I don't know why. They have unbelievable talent, but they don't know how to win. And I think, you know what, I always make a big deal. Say, okay, if you hard on the players, you're too hard on players. If you're too soft on the players take advantage of you. It's just something right now, nowadays, it's just very hard to manage it. But in the meanwhile, can I handle it? Of course, yes. Of course I can handle it. You know what I mean? Because I know, first of all, when you get that job, you don't get that job to make friends. That's one thing. When you win, everybody's your friend. When you lose, they hate each other. In the club, everybody hates each other, and that's a fact. But you know what I mean? When you manage a type of player like Kyle Everett, AJ and Brzezinski, Luca Hernandez, Freddie Garcia, those guys are tough, real tough, not talk tough, real tough. They can go to your office and just screaming to you, and and be man to man to you. And I don't see anybody with the White Sox with that type. Maybe one guy tied the temper, but it just, you have to let them know what you want, exactly what we should do from the beginning. Don't start, let's talk to them in June, July. No, spring training, first day, first meeting, boom. That's the way we got to do it. You like it, good. You don't like it, call them from office, call your agent, because that's the way we're going to play here. And I don't see that in last 3 or 4 years with the White Sox. Believe me, I'm not in the club.
Speaking facts from the horse's mouth. You got Ozzie Guillen criticizing the White Sox that you have a bunch of guys that don't want to play here. And if he was managing, he would say, go to the front office, talk to your agent, and get yourself traded, because we're not going to play that type of baseball. So it's crazy, because his name is going to come up. Let's just be honest. It came up during the first manager search, and you got Rick Hahn put a kibosh on it and said, we've talked to Ozzie. We don't think he's the right fit right now. I don't know why. I thought he would have been a great fit for it. You also had AJ Hinch as the number one Imagineer candidate. I thought they were going to go with him, and then the owner stepped in and got whoever they wanted, right? TLR. You also have names like Bruce Bochy, Joe Girardi, Michael Cairo, Joe Espada. You have a plethora of names out there. What will Rick Hahn do? You're going to replace a Hall of Fame manager who did not work out. You had Ricky Renteria, who was there teaching the kids, and took them to the playoffs. So do you go young and unexperienced, or do you go with somebody like Bruce Bochy, Joe Girardi, even Joe Esparza, who's been on the Astros? You have lots of options. So for myself, you've got to go with a winner. I personally would like to have all these guys on the managing and coaching staff right there. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All those 5 guys. There's tons of World Series championship pedigree there, and a lot of experience, and a lot of actual playing experience as well. I also want to play a little bit of our friend David Kaplan with Scott Pasenik.
Dan O'Dowd was on MLB Network. He said, stop telling me how talented the White Sox are. They have good baseball players. They're poorly constructed as a roster. Do you agree?
I somewhat agree with that, and I'll be honest. At the beginning of the season, I think I was blinded a little bit by the skill level and the talent of this club. Luis Robert center field, Eloy Jimenez, the athleticism of Tim Anderson at short. But winning a title, winning a division, takes a lot more than that. And I think you got to start by looking at the culture of this ball club, the mindset, the attitude within that clubhouse. Cleveland came into town in the biggest series of the season, and they had a legitimate shot. If they sweep Cleveland, it's in game on, right? And it was clear which team wanted it more, right? It was obvious who showed up to play, who came with some spirit and played hard. I think you got to start there, Caps. There are a certain group of intangibles it takes, efforts, perseverance, drive, and just the flat out want to go out, grind, and win a title. And it just appeared that the Sox lacked a little bit of what Cleveland came into town with.
Okay, so winter of 04 going into 05. I remember it because I love hot stove season. I love the baseball season, but hot stove season is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And I remember getting a call, hey, the Sox just traded Carlos Lee. What? El Caballo? Yeah, for Scott Podsednik from the Milwaukee Brewers. And you're like, you just traded a big bat.
All right, so that was David Kaplan on NBC Sports Chicago with Scott Pasenik, and they're talking about the 04 White Sox. Again, you're hearing also the same manager and one of the players from the 04 and 05 White Sox, but you're hearing what it takes to win, obviously, right? You're hearing the pedigree of former champions. They're saying, all right, well, there's got to be some change. Obviously, all of us have been blinded because we've been told for years, trust the process. We're rebuilding. We're trading Chris Sale. We're trading all these players for assets, and these assets are going to grow together. And they were doing great in AA and AAA. And you're watching how their progression is going in an upward trajectory. Now we're there. It is time to put up or shut up. So the question is, which are the White Sox going to trade somebody that's going to shock the world, like when they traded El Caballo for Scotty Pods. I didn't know who Scotty Pods was. He became one of the most instrumental players for the World Series run. I mean, it's crazy how it is coming full circle at this point. It's monumental right now because Rick Hahn is going to be on the hot seat a little earlier than usual because he got put in a situation where he had to endure TLR for 2 years, even though that wasn't the coach he wanted. So now it's the hot seat because your window is closing. So can Rick Hahn turn it around?
We have a lot of problems.
So, Ozzy, that would require a very aggressive approach to this offseason, a very aggressive approach to turning over this roster. Do you have confidence in Rick Hahn, in his ability to turn over a roster and a team that he helped put together, or do you expect big changes in the front office?
I wish I can say use changes in the front office. I don't know. I don't have the power or have the mentality to see change the front office. I know for a fact, I said that 2 months ago, Tony not coming back. Why? Because Tony had to worry about his health. Tony had to worry about his family. And I don't think Tony La Russa he's going to prove anything to anybody. Tony La Russa is not going to say, look who I am. I think Tony La Russa hurting his career more. He's a Hall of Fame now, dealing with this crazy thing every day, day in and day out. But in 2004, when I talked to Kenny about it, Kenny asked me about it, what you think we should need. And I told Kenny straight up, I said, Kenny, that's the reason you guys finished second behind Minnesota. Minnesota, they have less talent, but they have better team. And thank God Kenny went do his way. Tremendous job. People can say whatever they say about Kenny Williams. They can say whatever I say, including myself. But Kenny's love to win. And Kenny went out and bring what we really need. And look at what happened. And I expect that happen this year. I cannot say anything about it because I'm not there. And I don't know how things work right now. But it had to be some change. Not because they have bad players. It's just because they have to make some change. How many years we've seen the same stuff in and out, and we don't go anywhere. And I think they should be, make them little bit, couple players, change couple players, and hopefully things work out for them because they have a lot of problems there, especially with DH Pat, a Braille signing. And it's not easy to deal with that. I guarantee you, it's not easy to deal with that. But they really, really have to make some change.
All right, that's Ozzy again on the Mully and Haw Show again on 670 The Score. So he alluded to a lot of things there. I mean, first off, he says he doesn't know what's going on in the front office. That's a red flag right now because as an organization, we should know who's running the show. Obviously, the owner's doing his thing, but he has always delegated down. And he's been loyal to a fault. We've gone over that. Check the archives. We've ripped it. You know what? You have an organization right now that is not producing. This is the third largest market in the U.S. And you guys should be competing with New York and L.A. year after year. Whether it's the Cubs, whether it's the White Sox, it doesn't matter. One of those teams should be competing every year, or or both year. Both teams should be competing every year. It is disgusting. It is disgusting to be a White Sox fan. Speaking for myself, because I'm super heated right now because you have an organization that has so much potential. So much potential. And you don't know who's running the show. Is it the owner pulling the strings still? I mean, the man's, 90? I don't know. Like, he doesn't know what's going on at this point. Is his son running the team as well? He's running the Bulls. Is it Kenny pulling the strings? Is it Rick Hahn? Who is it? We don't know, especially when you take the power away from hiring the manager from Rick Hahn. Is Rick Hahn just like, hey, well, I'm just going to cross my arms and let you fall on your face? You hired this guy. Let's see what you can do. I mean, you make money. You make hand over fist. You're collectively bargained to share the wealth. So you're getting money. Whether you're the Pirates, the White Sox, the Yankees, it doesn't matter. You're going to get some money. You got money to spend. Stop hoarding that money and put some money on the product, on the field, so that way fans can show up and we can stop hearing from the Cub fans, hey, your stadium's half empty. Okay, that's fine and dandy. Look at all MLB. All right, there's tons of stadiums that are half empty or worse. All right, we're not the worst in attendance. Should we have more fans there? 1,000%. 1,000% we should have more fans there. But the fans, the Chicago White Sox fans, don't show up for unless it's a winning product. All right? That's just what it is. And it's so frustrating because you have Ozzie Guillen like, hey, I don't know what's going on over there. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what's going to happen over Abreu. I don't know what they're doing. It's super sad to have someone who's managed the game, who's been in the game, tell you, I'm an insider and I don't know what's going on in there. So let's break down the roster. Let's start off with the catching position. This has been an issue all year, and it's really carried over from last year. Grandal is the White Sox biggest signing ever. And that right there tells you that the White Sox have to stop shopping at the Salvation Army and drive over to Michigan Avenue and start spending some real money on some proven players. Get some players. Look at the back of the baseball cards. Go to reference, was it baseballreference.com. Look at what they're doing. Look at their WAR. I know, like, we have all these analytics and all these stats and all these different stuff that we grew up on batting average, home runs, and RBIs and strikeouts. But now we have more numbers because we have computers that can crunch numbers in a couple seconds. Look at what we're doing here. Look at some proven players and put them on the team. You can put all the talent on the team, but if you don't have cohesiveness, it's not going to work. So if not Grandal, who? Right? Because for myself, I would hear Grandal, here's the rest of your money. Best of luck in your future endeavors as being a backup catcher for some other MLB team. Because right now, we don't need you. We really don't. You were brought on to be a left-handed power bat, and you have not provided any power. So see you later. So my top option, let's go after the biggest fish, the biggest whale. Go after Wilson Contreras. You've got to. You've got to make a significant offer for a backstop who is going to manage your pitching staff, who has heart and fire, and it has the willingness to be part of the organization 100%. Have a guy who really cares about playing baseball. You've seen what he did on the north side. He loves playing on the north side. Will he stay on the north side? I don't know. I really don't know. But if he doesn't stay on the north side, I would love him on the White Sox. His WAR is 3.69. His batting average is 241 with 21 home runs and 54 RBIs in 111 games. He's playing on a bad team. I'm not dogging the Cubs right now. He is playing on a bad team on the Cubs. The Cubs are actually more fun to watch right now. But he would solidify the catching position as runners are taking the bases on the White Sox like rats done down the blue line. Free cheese. Free cheese. So my only concern with Contreras is because he's never ever played more than 140 games. But there's DH on both sides now, so that'll be alleviated with allowing him to be off his feet as he's a little bit older. He's a little bit of an older statement right now. He's a little bit of an older statesman right now. So yeah, you could put him at DH and still have his power bat and spell his knees. All right, you have Selby Zavala that can catch for him. You have the opportunity to sign him this offseason. He's a free agent. When the free agent window opens, that first second, you knock on his door, knock on his window, throw rocks at it, whatever you need to do to get this man's attention and say, hey, we're going to offer you a pretty significant contract. We want you here. It's got to be done. We haven't had a pretty good catcher since A.J. Pierzynski, who managed the pitching staff very well. Was he the best hitter? No, but he didn't strike out much. So you put the ball in play. That's all I can ask you to do. That is so frustrating. That is super frustrating. Again, go after Contreras. You have Zavala as your backup. Zavala is a good backup. He's not a starter yet. I think he's still growing. And then to be under the tutelage of Contreras, I think Zavala will elevate on the defensive side and be able to hit more with all these guys there. All right, let's move over to DH. So we got about 17 of these guys, 17 DHs. Unfortunately, that's what the White Sox are, a bunch of DHs. So let's settle this right now. Eloy Jimenez is your DH moving forward. If he doesn't like it, too bad. That is your job now. You're going to play DH five times a week. You know, if we play 7 games straight, then 5 times a week you're playing DH. The other 2 times we'll put you in the outfield for about 5 innings. You know, and then we'll spell you out for defensive reasons. It solves a couple problems. He has got leg issues. Okay, cool. There you go. We'll make sure you stretch, you do your yoga, you do your Pilates, whatever you need to do, but we're going to set you up so you don't have these issues anymore, and you're also a bad defensive player. So it solves that problem as well. All right? You've got a bunch of position players that are playing out of position, and they're all DHs. All right, so Jimenez will be there 5 times a week, and then by committee you can have the 2 other games. If you sign Contreras, those are your 2 other games for Contreras. Give him some rest. All right, so I'm just sick of seeing a bunch of DHs in right field and left field, you know, playing first, playing, you know, catcher. All these guys that are DHs, you've got to get rid of them. You've got to make that decision now. All right, fans, we'll be right back after a word from our sponsor.
Hey, true Chicago sports fans, show off your Chicago pride with some fresh clothes from Grit Clothing Company. At Grit Clothing, they create that simple yet classic style that represents that Chicago Southside lifestyle. From t-shirts to hoodies, hats to glassware, they've got you covered. Grit has everything you need to represent your Chicago pride, so do it right now. Check out gritclothingco.com and use the promo code TrueFan15.
TrueFan15.
For 15% off your entire order. Let me say it again. That's gritclothingco.com and use the promo code TrueFan15 for 15% off of your entire order.
Hey, this is Mikey O, and you're listening to the True Chicago Sports Fan Podcast. Don't forget to visit Mikey O at Mikey O Show or www.MikeyOShow.com.
Welcome back to the TCSF podcast with E-Rock and Big Z. This week's topic is the disappointment of the Chicago White Sox. All right, let's move over to first base. And as much as I love Jose El Pito Abreu, it may be time to move on. The power numbers are down. The bat's slowing down. Is he really 35? Is he 45? We don't know. We really don't know. He's the elder statesman on the team and with the biggest heart. Every time they lose, he's still sitting on the bench, staring at the scores and watching other teams celebrate because he's got the heart. I don't see him as the vocal leader, and I think we need more vocal leaders on the team rather than, hey, follow my lead, because some of these guys are not doing that. They're really not. So it is time to put Andrew Vaughn at first. He hit .274 with 17 home runs, 76 RBIs in 132 games, and he's been playing the outfield instead of first base. He's playing out of position just because he wants to be in the lineup. Also, you need his power. I mean, I think this kid is on his way up to becoming one of our staple first basemen. All right, let's move over to second base. Elvis Andrus is a possibility if he wants to come back. You know, he played 39 games for the White Sox, hit .270, 7 home runs, 24 RBIs, and 10 stolen bases. Yes, 10 stolen bases. He led the White Sox in 39 games, what they did in 162. It is disgusting. Disgusting. You also have Danny Mendick with the blown out ACL this year. He was coming into his own with the bat. His defense is pretty good. So he was turning it around, and then that stupid injury happened and took out his season along with the momentum of him playing. So if in a perfect world, you bring Andrews back, Elvis back in there, and you have Danny Mendick spell everybody in the outfield kind of like Leary does. All right. I mean, you've got 2 bench players that can help you out. I don't mind seeing Danny Mendick come back at second base because he's got a good glove and his bat was coming around. But there isn't really any big names on the free agent market besides Adam Frazier. But Mendick can produce the same or even better numbers than Adam Frazier at this point. So it's either Mendick or Elvis, but hopefully Elvis doesn't leave the building. All right, move over to third base really quick. Moncada is the defensive wizard. I mean, this man can play the heck out of third base when he's there, when he's healthy. But he hasn't been the same for a while. It was the COVID, it was the hamstring, it was the other hamstring, it was the bachata song, it was the, I don't know, every single thing. He got a cough. I don't know. This man is always like complaining about something. you got to stay on the field. He's got to stay focused. He was worried about the chains and the shoes and looking pretty and the nice fade and looking like Ricky Martin. I don't know what it is, man. I really don't know what it is. I don't know if he has the intestinal fortitude to want to play every day. It looks like he doesn't want it. He's leaning on his defensive acumen and ability rather than having that grind and that, so I want to be there 162 games. So expect Moncada to be back at third next season, and he'll be spelled by Garcia, Mendick, and or Berger. All right, shortstop. That's right, shortstop. This is a position that gets a little bit hairy, and there are multiple players that will be available on the free agent market. And on top of the list, for my other team, Trey Turner of the Dodgers, who's seen his power increased while being with the Dodgers. He's averaging about 23, 24 home runs with them. Before that, he was averaging about 12. So he's a 300 hitter. He has 20 home runs. He plays about every day, and he's really good at defense. Now, here's the deal, White Sox fans and TCSF listeners, is that he's going to be requesting $33 million a year. Again, everyone's like, oh, my God, that's a lot of money. Think about it. Numbers are skyrocketing right now when it comes to sports. $33 million. I mean, that's an option. It's an option. I don't know. Again, if we're playing fantasy baseball and I'm the GM, you got to make one of these options. Here you go. Option number 2, Dansbury of the Atlanta Braves, another player similar to Trey Turner, 274, 24 home runs, 95 are ribbies, also great defensive player. And here's the thing: when you're asking for these high level players, you've got to pay them. 27 mils, probably what he's going to be asking per year. All right. I mean, again, you're asking for top echelon players to put on the team and good dudes. It's going to cost you a pretty penny. It is really going to cost you. And your third option is going to be Tim Anderson. This year he was sidelined with a couple of injuries, and he had surgery on his wrist, some off-field drama, if you want to believe that, TMZ. I mean, that's up to you. But he really didn't look like he had his head in the game all season. And it's very similar to when his best friend passed away. He was not there. You know, his body was on the field, but his mind was somewhere else. So maybe that must have been an issue this year. But I look for TA to be back on the field. He is our homegrown player. His numbers are as good as the last two players when it comes to the offensive side, but the defensive side is a lot less. His WAR is a lot less than the other two. But he is a cheaper option. He is controlled over the next 2 years at 12 and 14 million respectively in both of our team options. So expect TA to be back at shortstop, and hopefully he's focused and ready to play. And hopefully we can pick up maybe another player to be the leadoff hitter. I think he's more of a number 2 hitter. You know, I want to see aggressive Tim. I want to see bat flipping Tim. That's the Tim I want to see. So you'll see him back at shortstop. All right, let's move over to the outfield. This should be short and sweet, right? It should be, right? At this moment, you got Lou Bob, a 5'2" player that can't stay healthy, can't stay on the field. I mean, you've got Pollock, right? He has a player option for 23, so we don't even know if he's coming back. So he can say, hell no, I'm out of here. He's playing the left, right? So you got your center fielder, your left fielder with a question mark there. Pollock has been serviceable, 245 average at 14 home runs. It's okay. Nothing special. Is he a great defensive player? No, not really. I don't know. I'm very confused on Pollock because he can go on streaks and do very well, and then most of the year he's like mediocre. Or mediocre, the way Eddie likes to hear it. And then you have, Sheets in right field and DHing. So, I mean, you really have a bunch of guys that should be playing DH in the outfield, and it's a defensive liability. You got Eloy being a permanent DH next year, so then you have to, if you have the checkbook ready, right, old people, you have your checkbook ready because the owner does have one. You've got to go after Judge. And I know people are going to laugh at me like, yeah. Quit dreaming. Hey, a man can dream. And you know what? If the White Sox were to be like, I'll give Judge $40 million a year for 5 years with an opt-out after year 3 and a player option in year 5, I mean, that can be something that, he might want. He turned down $213 for 7 years. Rightfully so. I think his stock just went up like triple fold. So maybe even 40 million a year might not be enough. Maybe he'll be asking for 50. And I think the White Sox are still going to be priced out of it. But I mean, the window's closing. The window's closing for the White Sox. So why not go balls to the wall and make this splash? Make a splash. Go and get this guy. I mean, you're in revenue, you'll get it back. In jerseys and, you know, advertisements and all different types of stuff and promotions. You can do all types of stuff with Aaron Judge. You know, the potential home run king. He's a great defensive player. He's a good guy. I mean, why not? That's the type of player that you want. Unfortunately, you're gonna have to pay for him. You didn't draft him. So again, the White Sox window is closing, and go make a splash. Right field has been a black hole for like over a decade. I can't remember the last good right fielder. I really couldn't. So it's a fantasy signing, but one can wish. The outfielders in left field are serviceable, that are out there in the free agency with Jock Peterson and Andrew Benintendi, but nothing to drool over. Really nothing to drool over. I mean, there's really nothing in the outfield on a free agent market besides Judge that would be appetizing to spend money over. So bottom line, go get Judge, go get Contreras. That'll address two things right there. And then fix your bullpen and sign a 5-starter, right? I don't even want to go into free agency with pitchers because pitchers and bullpens are iffy. You can sign a great pitcher and he's going to have an awful season. Same thing with bullpens. 1 year they're good, 1 year they're bad. So those are the hardest things to address and to predict is pitching. And it's a shot at a dartboard. It really is, because a lot of these players are on the White Sox bullpen were really, really good for the last 2 years, and this year they sucked. Whether they were overused or used incorrectly, that's up for debate. But I'm not going to address the pitching stuff just because we've got enough issues right now with the hitting, which caused the White Sox to lose a lot of games. Addressed a lot of the defensive things, which caused the White Sox to lose a lot of games. These pitchers that we have are pitching very good, and even our bad pitchers are serviceable enough we should overcome a 4-run deficit. So we'll be right back with Stirring the Pot after a word from our sponsor.
I think I'll perplex him with my slow ball.
1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out.
White Sox, White Sox, go, go, White Sox.
Repeat after me.
Welcome back to the True Chicago Sports Fan Podcast with E-Rock and Big Z. It's that time again. You know what time it is, TCSF fans. It's time for Stirring the Pot. All right, it is fall season. It is officially fall. The temperature is dropping. The leaves are changing colors and starting to fall. The sunlight is a lot less now. It's a little cloudier most of these days. But what do you guys like to eat during the fall? For myself, growing up, there was 2 staples that warmed up the house and warmed up your stomach. And I'm talking about soup. That's right, soups. So there's 2 soups that grew up eating. And unfortunately, if you're in a Mexican or Latino household, you know about the soups in the summer. For some reason, we had soup in the summer. But during the winter, it's something when I do crave soup. And 2 soups that were a mainstay in growing up in my household were the caldo de res, or beef soup, or the pozole, right? Hominy soup made with either beef or chicken, however to your preference. I mean, these are they're staples, right? So I'm asking you, which one is your favorite? Is it the caldo de res, right? With the different, with the chayote and the potatoes and the carrots, like that's where you go? Is that your go-to soup? Or is it the hominy soup, right? With the hominy, and then it could either be beef or chicken, and then it's either red or green or even white, which means they didn't add any chiles. With some tostadas and some sour cream. What is your choice? Think about it. I mean, for me, it's got to be the pozole. I love pozole. You can ask Otto at Estrella Negra. I love the pozole there. I love my mom's pozole. I love really good pozole. So if you know a good pozoleria, let me know. I will go eat it. So for me, it's gotta be the pozole. It is a 10 out of 10 for me. I will take that over the caldo de res. Now, if I'm sick, I'm gonna ask, for a chicken noodle soup or some, a fresh chicken soup. If I'm feeling a little sick and down, but I can have pozole, 3 times a week and I'll be good, especially during the fall. Warms up the house, warms up your stomach, and you get to relax, and you get the little bit of itis. And while you're watching football, you'll fall asleep and then wake up in the fourth quarter. It's perfect. So hit me up on the DMs. Let me know what you think. All right, before we go, what you looking at that isn't sports? All right, so for me, it's fall, so all the fall season shows come back. I know E-Rock makes a lot of fun of me because I still watch a lot of network TV, but the Chicago Fire, Chicago PD, I still watch Chicago Med just because it interacts with the rest of them. Those shows are back. I think they're about 2 weeks in. I just caught up this weekend because I stayed home all weekend. And then, you got your, 35th season of Grey's Anatomy. If I start something, I'm going to finish it. That's just the way I work. Sorry. It's not really that good at this point, but I got to see if Grey ever leaves Grey's Anatomy. I just got to see it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you have a show request that we should be watching, send it on DMs to either E-Rock or myself or even the pod page. I know Dahmer's out there. That's next on my list. The Vicente Fernandez novella, I think it's like 28 episodes or something like that, is out there. There's a lot of stuff out there. She-Hulk is out there. We talked about that, but there's a lot of content out there. Let me know what you think, what we should be watching, and we'll talk about it. All right, y'all, that is it for today. Thank you for listening. A big thank you to our sponsor, 606 Media, True Chicago Sports Fans, and Grit Clothing Company. Don't forget to go to gritclothingco.com and get your official TCSF podcast t-shirts. Search for keyword True Chicago and use our promo code TrueFan15 at the checkout for 15% off your entire order. That is TrueFan15. Get your shirts now. The Shy Native Radio podcast is available now on all major platforms. Mike Logic, Ideal, and Throw MC talk about sports, movies, and all types of ill Mike Logic and Ideal will be back soon with another 606 production of All Net podcast. They will be talking all things basketball, especially the Bulls. So if you are a basketball head, you've got to tune in to the All Net podcast. And as you get closer to basketball season, we'll give you the dates and when it drops. So Shy Native, and then you got Mike Logic and Ideal doing basketball. It is the best of both worlds. Check out the latest addition to the 606 family, the No Water on the Weekend podcast with Steven and Sean. They get into a bunch of crazy stuff. You've got to listen to the trivia. You miss a trivia question, you got to take a shot. Check them out every Monday, streaming on all of your listening platforms. Please check them out. Check out the No Water on the Weekend podcast. Shout out to Ronesh, Panic, and Serious Beats, and custom made for the beats we played on today's show. Check out paniconthebeat.com for your moment merch and gear. Check us out on social media. You can find us at True Shy Fans on Twitter and on TikTok. Find us on Facebook, IG, and Spotify, and reach out to us on our email. We want to hear from you. Reach us at truechicagosportsfans@gmail.com. All right, for E-Rock, this is Big Z, and we'll see you next time for episode 113. That's 113. And until then, be good to each other for the love of sports.
A few moments later.
Wait, the Bears are what we thought they were. What we thought they were.
This is not how we wanted it to go. You almost can't even make it up. It's that bad.
Oh, my goodness! Didn't see that coming! Up diddly-dee! What? Did we just become best friends? Yup!
You have a lot of incest.
That's real. Shut your mouth.
Lover boy.
Nature versus nurture, Lodge. Nature always wins.
I think he's on steroids.
Hasta luego, amigos. That's all. I shouldn't have had those artichoke poppers.
Thanks, Cubs.